Welcome back to the Pylon YouTube channel. I am your host, Mike, and I just want to give a quick announcement. We are going to try, I'm going to keep updates on Twitter, whether it's happening or not, but I would like to do a live mock draft next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch with you guys. So if you're interested in that, I'll see you at the Twitch chat. I'll see you at the channel. I'll link all that stuff when it's posted and everything on Twitter. So make sure you got Twitter notifications on. Make sure you follow me on Twitter whatever it is. It's right here. I don't have it in front of me yet because I'm recording it live, but it's right here. Make sure you got those notifications on. But this is our first mock draft with trades, and this is our last what's it called? This is our pre-combine draft. So after the combine, everything's gonna change. But yes, this is our first mock draft with trades. I said we would be doing this around March, and it's 2 days before March when I'm recording this. I think 28 days in February, right? Calendar. Yeah, 2 days. So we're right on schedule. I got my positional rankings in the works as well. So keep an eye out for those videos. But anyways, we're gonna be trading in this mock, and I'll do the trades live. But anyway, let's get into the draft. So Jaguars pick at 1. If I'm a gambler, which I kind of am, not really. Like I'll put like $20 in at the beginning of the season, and if I make it to the end of the season, cool. If I run out of money by week 2, we're done for the year. But anyways, I have not gone negative, and I try to post my bets for the week on Instagram. So make sure you check out our Instagram as well. We finished like 500 or one pick under 500. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I would put money down that this would be a Cam Ekwonu, just because the odds are going to be higher than Evan Neal. They have Cam Robinson. They have Walker Little. Maybe they extend Cam Robinson if they don't let him go into free agency. But, you know, Cam Ekwonu for their offense, they got James Robinson. And even though Urban Meyer was a disaster, he did draft Travis Etienne, which they're going to try to get the most out of him. And they have Trevor Lawrence, who is a mobile quarterback by every facet. Maybe they get a Cam and try to extend, make some designed run plays for Trevor. But, I think they're going to go with the safe pick, at least that's what it seems like right now. They go with the safe pick, and that would be Evan Neal at pick number 1. A lot of people are mocking this, so I like it. Pick 2 is the Lions. And here's what I'll say about this, right? I think with the positional groups, the gap between the elite and the great prospects is bigger than other positional groups, specifically talking about with offensive linemen, corners. Like after Akem, Neal, and Cross, there's a pretty substantial fall off. With corners, there's more of the elite, but there is a substantial fall off to the great prospects. With edge rushers, I don't know how big the gap is between Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, and then the Jermaine Johnsons, the Ojabos, the Trayvon Walkers, the Arnold Ebiketis, to talk about someone day 2 or day 3 prospect, the Ebiketis, the Kingsley and Agbaris, the Myjai Sanders, like those guys, like the Cameron Thomases. I don't know how big that gap is, personally. So that's why I was thinking about this. I think I subscribe to, which is a very small minority of people, in that versatility is an elite trait for prospects. I think the more versatile a player, the better, because with how coaching is advancing in the NFL, it's more of a chess match of designing looks to tell the other team what you're not doing. You know what I mean? So with Kyle Pitts, a lot of back to Kyle Hamilton, a lot of people try to say oh, Kyle Hamilton is not as versatile as people think. That's crap. To be blunt, that is just crap. Sure, to use the Kyle Pitts analogy, Kyle Pitts could play out of the slot. He could play off the line. He could play on the perimeter. And yeah, he's maybe a better receiver in the perimeter spot, off the slot, off the line, wherever you put him, he's going to be better at things than other things. With Kyle Hamilton, you can line him up in the nickel. Excuse me. He could play deep. He could blitz. And sure, he's going to be better maybe as a deep safety than a blitzer, but he could do everything at a great level. And with the Lions having, Jeff Okudah, who I think is going to have a great year in 2023, and Lions fans, I've had your good graces, but if I ruin it with this pick, I'm sorry. I think Kyle Hamilton's going to add an element to this defense that they don't have and they can't get anywhere else in the draft. So I'm going to take Kyle Hamilton here. With pick 3, with the Texans, I keep saying this, but you will have another first-round pick. That's why I'm not super trigger happy on offensive linemen here. I think you go best player available. And for me, like, you have a promising interior D-line with a few players. I forgot the guy you drafted, I think in the 4th or 5th round last year. Roy Lopez. He's had a great year, and it's gone completely under the radar because he's on a bad team. If you give him edge help, we'll see if they can unlock the potential of him, similarly to another team we're going to talk about. But for me, like, if Aiden Hutchinson's going to have a Bosa-type year, his rookie year, like, that's going to make Roy Lopez that much better. And I can make the argument you go with Kem here, but who is he blocking for? Because he's an elite run blocker, right? Who is he making holes for? Rex Burkhead? Like, who do you have back there that is going to take advantage of those roles or those holes he's making? And if you go Cross, like, I would argue Cross is a better scheme fit because you have Nico Collins, who's he's going to be a good receiver, and you have Brandon Cooks. Maybe he walks in free agency, but I think you go best player available and take maybe a Kenyon Green at pick 9 or pick 13, or, you know, whoever you trade Watson for. So I'm going to go with Hutchinson here. And then with the Jets, similarly to Roy Lopez, like, Keenan Williams has been the backbone of your defense since you drafted him, and I don't think you've unlocked his full potential yet, right? So I think with this, like, if KT falls to 4, sure, everybody's mocking a Kem there, who's going to be an elite player, and I know that the Jets want to roll with Mekhi Becton and George Font as their tackles, so they're going to put a Kem at guard, but I don't think Michael Carter is a 3-down back, not because of his talent, but because of his size. And I think that, you know, Charles Cross, again, would be a better scheme fit for the Jets because, you know, you're going to try to be that air raid offense with Zach Wilson. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, get KT, who's going to be potentially an elite edge rusher, and then he's going to make Keenan Williams' life that much better, and you're going to have a formidable defensive line, a very good defensive line for years to come. In the Giants at pick 5, I think this has got to be a Kem. You know, he could be a potentially number 1 overall pick if Evan Neal didn't exist. But KT at 5, like, this is a team with Brian Daboll now. So many design runs for Josh Allen is probably what they're going to do with with Daniel Jones. And more importantly, for Saquon Barkley, if you draft a Kem Ekwonu and you put him as right tackle and it doesn't work, he's going to be a Pro Bowl guard. Like, I'm telling you, this is my favorite player in the draft. There has not been as good of a run blocker prospect since probably Quentin Nelson. And I think he's a better run blocker prospect than Quentin Nelson. I think this kid, he really does go number 1 overall to the Jaguars. Like, I truly believe that. But with the Panthers at pick 6, this could be our first trade, but I think they're going to stay put and they're going to roll with Malik Willis. I think that if the Bucks fail to bring in Watson or Wilson or Rodgers or etc., they're going to win the division. Like, I do believe that. I think that, as in the Panthers, their defense is good enough. They have good enough weapons. They need to get someone in free agency to fix that offensive line. But then again, you know, maybe you just accrue draft capital, trade Christian McCaffrey for someone, and get either an offensive lineman or picks for next year, build the offensive line for Malik Willis, and now you have your quarterback of the future. Even though you invested a lot in Sam Darnold, this is the year of your true investment because you have no second-round pick and no fourth-round pick, I believe. And you gave a sixth-round pick last year. But, you know, after this, Malik Willis will be caught up to speed. He'll have a year of just watching. Maybe he gets to play at some point in the season if the season goes south for the Panthers, which I don't think it will. But I think this is the pick. Now, the Giants, if Charles Cross wasn't here, if the Panthers took Charles Cross, I think they would trade this pick back. Perhaps trade with the Vikings or the Ravens, as they're probably sitting here drooling over Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley. I think this is where a trade could happen. But if Cross is here, I think you take Cross, and you have your right tackle of the future, you have your left tackle of the future with Andrew Thomas, and you have your left guard of the future with Kem Ekwonu. And now your offensive line went from crap to, you have potentially 3 Pro Bowlers right away on this line. I think Charles Cross is going to be a very, if you follow this channel, you know I was not big on Charles Cross. But now, I've talked to people, I've watched tape. I think Charles Cross is legit, man. And then, asking him to play right tackle, even though he's a true left tackle, I think he's going to do a great job in the NFL. I think he's going to be, a hell of a tackle. Now the Giants' offensive line is legit, in my opinion. You still need to fix it. Maybe you get Dylan Parham later on in the draft to play center, and then you draft another player to play guard, or you go out and get Brandon Sheriff, or someone like that. But I think, given your cap space, you're probably not going to be able to make too many waves in free agency. But we'll see what Joe Shane can work up. But Falcons at 8. I think with offensive line being gone and, big three being gone, the edge big three being gone, I think this pick, you could still go Jermaine Johnson, who's going to be a great productive player right away, but you're kind of getting close to starting a rebuild. Maybe you take a developmental type player and keep him in state in Trayvon Walker. I think David Ojabo or Trayvon Walker here would be a very, very solid pick because they're like Trayvon Walker probably has a bigger immediate impact than Ojabo, but I think Ojabo's ceiling is way higher than Trayvon Walker's. But I do think Trayvon Walker has a much higher ceiling than Jermaine Johnson. So that was one of the biggest weaknesses for the Falcons. You have a phenomenal right guard who it was a big, I forget his name, but he was widely viewed as a Pro Bowl snub. And he was pretty much the only bright spot on your offensive line. But other than that, you really struggled getting to the quarterback. You need to fix that pass rush. I'm going to keep Trayvon Walker in state and take Walker here at 8. I think, his ability to drop back into coverage, his ability to, come in off the edge really was on display in the Alabama game in the national championship where he's starting to, generate some hype. Rightfully so, he's generating hype. But so with the 9th pick, the Packers are on the board because they traded Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos and now have this pick. I think they could definitely go quarterback here, which I don't think is likely. I think they probably are going to go edge and have someone who can help them win now if they can find a trade partner for Jordan Love or Jordan Love takes a step, etc. Or they could go wide receiver in the case that Devontae Adams leaves. So I'm going to go with Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher out of Florida State. I just think that, he's going to be the most immediate impact player that has a very high floor and come in and help them stay competitive in the NFC North. The trade details we're not going to get into because I just wanted to force the trade. So I didn't try to make it realistic. I just think, whatever happens, happens, but they have this pick. The Jets at pick 10, I'm going to go with a receiver here. Since we went edge and now, they could go Penning, but he can't play guard. Maybe they go Kenyon Green, stick him at guard and keep Mekhi Becton and George Font at tackle like they want to. But I think it makes more sense to take best player available for position of need, and that's going to be Treylon Burks. I think he's going to be a great scheme fit because he could help them, he's a great physical, big receiver. He's going to be a freak in the combine. And he's drawing a lot of comparisons to Deebo Samuel. I think my comparison with him which isn't like a unique comparison by any means, but a player comp for him is A.J. Brown. I think he's a less polished A.J. Brown coming out of the draft, which is crazy because A.J. Brown went in the second. But anyways, Washington at pick 10, Washington Commanders, or pick 11, excuse me. I think they could definitely, quarterback is in play. They could definitely go with Desmond Ritter. But I think they want to get, stay competitive and get Terry McLaurin some help. And for that, I'm going to go with it's between Jameson Williams or Drake London for me or Garrett Wilson. I'm going to go with Drake London. I think Drake London is someone who they could scheme. They use him in in a ton of ways at USC, whether that's bubble screens, competitive catches on the perimeter or out of the slot. I think they're kind of limiting him with what Slovis is capable of. But anyways, pick 12 is the Vikings. I think that they need to go corner here. And I think, someone who's going to help them be competitive right away with no injury concern is Ahmad Gardner. And I don't think Ahmad Gardner's ceiling or his floor is much different than Derek Stingley's. I think that Derek Stingley anti-hype has kind of gotten out of control. So, it's either or. I think Stingley is probably the pick. But personal preference here, if you're worried about the injury concerns, definitely go with Gardner. But if you want to bank on the upside, I would go with Stingley. Pick 13 is the Browns, and I think this has to be wide receiver just because, they're missing Rashad Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't think is a serviceable receiving core, to be completely honest. So I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson here. I pick 13. Maybe they're scared of the ACL injury with Jameson Williams, but kids are bouncing back from those like they're nothing anymore. But I pick 14 with the Ravens. I'm going to go with Ahmad Gardner. I don't think they have a weak cornerback room by any means, but I think that they need to build up that receiving cornerback room depth. You have Super Bowl expectations. If anybody gets hurt again, like Marcus Peters or anybody in that room really gets hurt again, that shouldn't be an excuse this year because now you have the draft capital to take someone like Ahmad Gardner. If the Giants are sitting here and crosses off the board, I could see the Ravens trading up with the Giants for Ahmad Gardner, but we'll see what happens. At 15 is the Eagles, and I'm going to go with David Ojabo. I think they definitely need an edge rusher. They're competitive enough where they can make it to the playoffs. They've proved that already, and David Ojabo is a player where he may not be the most immediate impact, but he will continue to get better and hopefully develop into a 3-down player. Anyways, with that, I think they need to get someone to help out Darius Slay on the perimeter in the secondary. Or they could go interior offensive line, help get that a little bit stronger. But I got my head here, so I can't see on this monitor. Who would be a decent trade partner if they were to trade? I think they stay put. I don't think anybody's worth trading up for at the moment. Just being that a lot of these teams back here could definitely trade up for someone. But at pick 16, I think they're going to go with a corner or a wide receiver. They could definitely take Jameson Williams. How about Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts? Let's go with Jameson Williams because I think corners are going to be around. At pick 17, I think the Chargers are going to look for a tackle unless they do something with Mike Williams. Potentially an edge rusher, but who would I take at tackle? I think for me, I'm going to go with Kenyon Green. I think he's just one of the most polished offensive linemen in the draft. He could play anywhere, and they could stick him right at right tackle, and he's probably going to be a very solid right tackle instantly. At pick 18, this is tough because I think that the Saints need to really reform their identity as a team, being that they got Sean Payton's gone, Drew Brees has been gone. They need to figure out what they are and work from there. And I'm going to go with Desmond Ritter. I think Desmond Ritter offers more than any of these other guys do if Malik Willis is off the board. I think Kenny Pickett definitely has the higher floor and could definitely come in and play immediately. But I think they want to play the long-term game, develop Desmond Ritter, get him to be a starting caliber quarterback who definitely has the arm talent and mobility to be a starting quarterback in today's NFL. But at pick 19, I think that this could be a trade unless they want to go with, they take Devin Lloyd here or they go corner. But I'm going to actually trade this pick. Hold on. I'm going to stop recording so you don't have to see me struggle with this. So I'll be right back. I had the Eagles trade with the Titans. I think the Titans desperately need a linebacker. And who knows how long Devin Lloyd is going to stay on the board. So I think that this is a scenario where maybe the Titans trade up and they want to take best linebacker available. And to me, that's Devin Lloyd. I think Nakobe Dean offers a lot, but, I think Devin Lloyd has the prototypical size. He's maybe not as good of an athlete as Nakobe Dean is, but he's bigger, and, I think would be better in coverage in the NFL just due to his size. But, yeah, I had the Titans trading up with the Eagles for this pick to take Devin Lloyd. And then at pick 20, we have the Steelers, and I think they're going to address offensive line. And with Tyler Linderbaum here at 20, I think this is a great fit. Maybe center isn't the biggest need on the Steelers, but this will be their center for the future moving forward. He could work, get some chemistry with Najee Harris. I think he's more of a better run blocker than he is pass protector. So I think in a team that's going to look to, run the ball more than they throw it, this is definitely the pick. At pick 21, we have the Patriots, who are a little bit upset that Nakobe Dean's not here because the Titans traded up to take Devin Lloyd. So with him being off the board, I could see the Titans taking either Trent McDuffie or Andrew Booth. And I'm going to go with Andrew Booth. I think, Bill Belichick is confident enough to develop these players that he wants the one with the highest upside rather than the cleaner evaluation. And to me, that's Andrew Booth over Trent McDuffie. At pick 22, we have the Raiders. And I think that, they need a right tackle. And I think they've proven they're good enough to overcome a lot. So anything that's going to make their life easier would be the move. I think they could also go wide receiver, given that, maybe they land Devontae Adams, potentially, if they have the cap room to get him. But since they have this pick, and maybe let's just assume they did get Devontae Adams in free agency, I like the idea of them going with Trevor Penning because they need support on that right side of the line. They need to get Derek Carr protection. They need to give him time to get the ball out and down the field because they're more of an air raid style offense. But they have Josh Jacobs, but the offensive line needs work so they can help out the run game. But maybe Trevor Penning can help them out in the passing game as well, and he won't be an immediate impact player in the run game because he's just such a mauler. At pick 23, I have the Cardinals, and I think that I like the idea of them taking Karlaftis here. Karlaftis is a high floor player for me. I think he's just going to be a player who, comes in, he is what he is, and he's going to be good at what he does. I think his game is going to translate very well to the NFL. The thing with Karlaftis for me, and I've been saying this all year long, I just don't know where his ceiling is because I don't think he does anything exceptionally well to, be an elite edge rusher. He's going to be good. I just don't know if he'll ever be elite. Maybe he'll be great, but I don't know if he'll ever be elite. Dallas at 24. I like them going to Kobe Dean. I think he's going to free up, what's his name? Micah Parsons a lot more than anybody else. And I think Dean, maybe they don't use him in coverage as much, but because of his size, but they could scheme for him to drop into coverage when it's covering the flats or covering the running back out of the backfield. I just don't know how much you want him lurking over the middle of the field because he is only 6 feet tall. Now, I think that his play is good enough where he's worth all the hype, he's worth a first-round pick, and he's going to be a great player, but I think that's going to be the big concern with the NFL. But I think as YouTubers and people like me do these, I think we're kind of over-exaggerating the concern with Dean's size. In my opinion. With the Bills at 25, this is tough for me. I don't think they go receiver because Gabe Davis did take a step in the playoff run, but I think they want to get a run blocker and maybe someone who could get to the quarterback from the middle of the field, be that interior pass rusher that they need, be that run stopper they need. And I think Devontae Wyatt offers more of a pass rushing capability from the middle than Jordan Davis. But if they just want someone to clog up the middle and be that Vita Vea, to use as an example, Jordan Davis is the pick. So I think this will be, if this side of the board falls out, this will be an interior defensive lineman. It's just who do you prefer? And I'm going to go with Jordan Davis. I just think at 6'6", 3 whatever, 350, 340. It's just going to help the Bills really stop the run because I think that's something they struggled doing with this season. But with the Eagles back on the board, they get their guy who they were going to take anyway, and that is Trent McDuffie. I think Trent McDuffie is one of the cleanest evaluations you could have for a corner. Just really, really good in coverage, really good ball skills. Doesn't get shaken on routes too easily. I like them trading back and getting Trent McDuffie. I think that's a win-win for the Eagles. At pick 27, we have the Bucks, and I think if they land a big quarterback, it's so funny. I talk about the Texans having their pick in the mock draft with trades. They didn't have anybody trade for. I should have had the Browns trade with them. But they didn't trade for Watson. Well, let's do it here because it would make more sense for them to trade him out of conference anyway. And this is a team that they would want that type of player to keep them competitive, to keep them in Super Bowl contention. So I'll pause the video, do this trade, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I had the Bucs trade for Deshaun Watson. I think they are definitely trade candidates for Deshaun Watson. I think the Texans may prefer a higher pick, but anyways, I think at this pick it makes a lot of sense to take a lineman, and I'm gonna go with Zion Johnson, being that he's still on the board. I think he can play tackle. He can play guard at a very elite level. Guard more so than tackle, but he can play tackle. He can also play a little bit of center, but he's going to be an exceptional guard right away for the Texans. And that now you've touched up the offensive line, made that a little bit better, and you got an edge rusher of the future. So win-win for the Texans. They get rid of Deshaun Watson. He doesn't want to be there anyway. But the Packers are back on the board, and I think they want to go. They'd want to touch up their offensive line a little bit, being that David Bakhtiari is getting up there in age and now he's dealing with injury. You could go Bernhard Raymond, but you also could go interior defensive lineman, and I think Devontae Wyatt is a much better prospect than who did I take with Jermaine Johnson? Than Bernhard Raymond is. I think he's going to have a much more immediate impact than Bernhard Raymond will. Keep you competitive despite Jordan Love. Like, let your defense carry you and see how far you get. See if Jordan Love's the guy, or decide what you got to do for him in the offseason. With the Dolphins here, I think they're going to go receiver, and I'm going to have them go with I just like Dotson more than Olave, being honest. But because I think Olave's better in the red zone than Dotson is, but I think Dotson's a better receiver. But I'm going to have him go with Dotson. I just think that Dotson, he is the entirety of Penn State's offense. Without him, the Penn State would be nothing. Sorry if you're a Penn State fan, but maybe you agree with what I'm saying. But anyways, at pick 30, we have the Chiefs, and I think, they have Mecole Hardman, they have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce's getting up there in age. Maybe they take a receiver, but I don't think they will. I think they'd much rather go with a immediate impact player, and that for me is going to be Daxton Hill. I've done this a lot for the Chiefs. I think that Hill is if you draft Hill, you could let Tyrann Mathieu go into free agency, but a lot of teams view Daxton Hill as a corner. A lot of teams are evaluating him as a corner as well as a safety. So we'll see how the Chiefs view him. I think he's going to be able to help that secondary out a lot. I think he's a very underrated player. I think he should be more in the first-round conversation than he actually is. But a lot of these great safeties go in the second round. The one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. The Giants drafted him in the second round, and he was one of the biggest steals of his draft class. But he, looking back, he should have been a first-round pick. Pick 31, we have the Bengals, and with the Cincinnati Bengals, I think Bernhard Raymond is last on their list of offensive line prospects that they want to draft. And I think with Kyler Gordon here being here, he could be much better than Eli Apple is, draw way less penalties. It really just depends on how the Bengals want to assess the draft. So with that, I think we got to go with Yeah, I think we got to go with the corner here because I think Roger McCreary is going to be much better than. And I think there's a good chance that the Bengals do land Teron Armstead from the Saints, given they have good cap space and they're young enough, and they just need to fix what they need to get what they needed for the Super Bowl. So for that, I'm going to go with Roger McCreary because I think they're going to land someone in free agency that's going to make a huge impact on their offensive line. At pick 32 with the Lions, I like them going receiver, but they're picking in 2 picks again, and there is a chance that maybe the Bengals pick up Olave or Pickens or Sky Moore, maybe even. He's generating a lot of hype. But with that being said, I'm gonna go with Kenny Pickett because I think Kenny Pickett, he's pro ready enough, and I think Jared Goff is a good player for him to learn from, given their similar play styles. But anyway, guys, this is our first mock with trades. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know how you liked it. Don't forget to check out the Twitter. We're going to have the Twitch stream up and running on Sunday the 8th, Sunday at 8 Eastern Standard Time, unless something else comes up and I just can't make it. But let me know what you think. I look forward to watching the Combine. I'm going to have my player evaluations and positional rankings up soon. But just look out for those. I'll try to get those out as fast as I can. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!